Welcome to the Getting Through Today podcast. I'm Brita. Come along with me as I share my story of the ups and downs through chronic illness and depression, all while being a mother of 5. I know healing is possible, and through every phase there is beauty, even if we don't always see it at the time. I know what it feels like to just get through one day at a time. Let's get started. Hello, beautiful warriors. Welcome back to Getting Through Today. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found this space. And if you've been here before, you know this is where we talk about healing, resilience, and all the messy, beautiful moments in between. Today, I want to talk about something simple yet incredibly powerful: movement and mindset shifts. Because for me, these two things have been deeply connected in my healing journey. And I want to share how something as small as moving my body, even in the tiniest ways, has completely transformed not just my physical health, but my mindset and overall well-being. Before we dive in, I want to check in with all of you. How are you feeling today? Take a deep breath with me. And exhale. Now ask yourself, how am I really? Not just that quick answer that you give to people when they ask, which usually comes up with an answer of, I'm fine, or I'm okay, or I'm great, even if you're not feeling that way. At least I do that all the time. But I mean deep down, how are you feeling today? Maybe today is a good day and you feel lighter. If so, soak that in. If today feels heavy, I want you to know you don't have to carry it alone. I see you, and I'm so glad you're here. And before we move on, I want you to think of one thing, it could be big or small, that you're grateful for right now. Maybe it's the simple fact that you showed up to listen to this. Maybe it's a person, a pet, or a moment of peace you had today. Whatever it is for you, hold on to that for a second. So you may know, if you've been following me, that something exciting and meaningful that's happening in my life is I'm training for a half marathon. Now, this race isn't just a race for me. It's deeply symbolic. And I'm also running this half marathon with my son, Callan, making it even more special. If you know my story, you know that there was a long stretch of several difficult years when chronic illness kept me confined mostly to bed, unable to do much physically. During those tough years, there were many days when I wondered if I'd ever run again or get out to even really walk again. And that's what makes this journey extra special. Not only am I able to train and participate and set this goal, but I also get to share this experience with my son. And I was talking to him, and because I've had many moments of doubt, worrying that I would slow him down because he's a really great runner. But he reassured me that he was excited to do this with me, and the time and the competition part of it didn't matter to him. And I realized how powerful this shared experience could be. Of course, not because of how fast we go, but because that we will do it. And because of the memories we can make together. And that's what really matters. And so I'm really excited to do this with him. Recently, I had one of those simple but beautiful training evenings, nothing extreme, just gentle movement. I was actually just jogging indoors on my elliptical machine. And after I did my jog, I did the miles I was supposed to do for the day. But after I stepped outside for some fresh air, and it wasn't even sunny or even that warm that evening, but it didn't need to be. there was just something incredibly healing about moving my body and then going out in the fresh air. It just always resets me, almost like a grounding moment that reminds me how lucky I'm able to be here right now doing this, that I get to train for a half marathon, that I get to go for a jog. Now, as someone who works from home, I've learned how important it is to intentionally step outside. And not only do I work from home, but, I went several years being chronically ill, and I really have to be intentional about stepping outside, taking deep breaths, and really appreciate where I am, where I live, and the scenery around me. And then there's movement. Even gentle stretching can do wonders for our minds and our emotional health. It's not always easy, and I understand that deeply. For years, I didn't have the energy or health to move much at all. But I've learned that waiting for motivation isn't the answer. Our motivation can often follow action. Something as simple as stretching or taking a short walk, or even doing gentle movements, can create a little bit of momentum for you. So today I encourage you, take a moment for yourself, step outside if you can, even just breathe deeply or move gently, and just allow yourself to feel the clarity and calm that movement and fresh air can bring. You deserve this reset too. Did you know there is actually real science behind why movement can positively impact our mental health? One thing is, movement can boost our mood. Sometimes when we engage in physical activity, even something gentle, our bodies release endorphins, which are chemicals that naturally boost our mood and reduce feelings of stress and anxiety. Now, coming from someone with a history of mental health, I didn't always feel a switch or a change when I did something like this. But I do know even if you can't feel it, it is good for your body. It is good for your mental health as well. Movement can also decrease our cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. That can build up when we feel overwhelmed or anxious a lot. So when we lower cortisol, it can help restore balance, promoting both physical and emotional healing. So maybe it could help just lower your stress just a little bit. And movement can even help us get unstuck. If we're in a rut mentally or physically, sometimes moving just helps us to allow space for new thoughts and new solutions to come into our mind. I used to believe that movement had to be some extreme thing to count or mean something, like running miles or intense workouts. But through my healing journey, I've discovered that's just simply not true. Movement does not have to be strenuous or lengthy to matter. Even just 5 minutes can have an incredible impact. So if you're listening today and struggling with finding the energy or motivation, I invite you to start small. Maybe today, just stretch your body, just stretch it out, or take a gentle walk, or even dancing to your favorite song for 1 minute. Movement is personal, and I get that. So it doesn't have to look a certain way or meet anybody else's expectations. What matters most is that it brings you closer to feeling better, calmer, and clearer. You may discover a beautiful, gentle routine that fits your lifestyle. And maybe it's something that you can gradually build on over time. And remember, motivation often follows the action. So even if you're not able to go for that walk, put on some workout clothes and stretch your body. Just taking one small step can lead to new habits, greater clarity, and just that stronger sense of well-being, knowing that you're taking those steps for yourself. But let's be honest, getting to this point was not easy. I didn't just simply wake up one day and decided to run another half marathon or magically become grateful for all my past struggles. There were so many days filled with frustration, feelings of being stuck, and yes, lots of anger. For the longest time, I viewed every setback as my personal failure. Each difficulty felt like proof I was doing something wrong or that maybe I wasn't meant to move forward. It was exhausting. And a lot of times it left me feeling defeated. But eventually, something started to shift within me after lots of work, lots of modalities, lots of tools. But instead of continually asking, why is this happening to me? I started to just ask myself, what's my next step? And that felt a little more realistic for me. That small change in mindset became incredibly powerful. At first, I wasn't even able to plan goals for the next day, but I could focus on the immediate steps in front of me. That's exactly what getting through today means to me. Making small, intentional decisions each day to create that calm and purpose in your life. So slowly, as my health improved, I did little things like I drank more water, I nourished my body better, and gradually increased the length of my daily walks. Those small daily choices did not transform me overnight, but instead they gradually and consistently kept moving me forward. And I soon realized that those setbacks were not holding me back. They actually were building my resilience and shaping my strength. Even when I couldn't see it back then, I can see it now. Those short walks evolved into jogs, which gradually became longer jogs. And then those little jogs, those walks, they've turned into 5 miles that I completed today. And honestly, when I started my jog today and I knew I had to go 5 miles, the self-talk was, maybe you could just do 3.5 today, or we don't really want to do 5 miles. Do we really have to do that? But I know I can. If I felt like my body, if it was too much for my body, of course I would rest and I would stop. But I knew I could do that today. And when I finished 5 miles, it was such a celebration because I don't even remember the last time I ran 5 miles. It has been years. And I just feel so happy that I can do this. I even got emotional. I was talking to my mom today, telling her, oh my gosh, can you believe I did this? Because there were so many hard days where I thought I'd just be in bed the rest of my life. And I think my mom did too. I mean, we didn't know how my future would look. So it was really exciting to share that news with her today that I ran. And my kids have been so awesome. And my husband just encouraging me and proud of me for the stuff I'm doing to keep moving forward. And it feels amazing. But I'm really proud of myself. And that means so much to me, and that I know I can reach the goals that I'm setting. And I've even realized as I jogged a little with my son today, and I just realized that no matter what we're doing, we can build connections. Whether we're in our home, laying in bed, we can build connections with people. So just like I'm excited today because I'm able to do these things, but even when I wasn't, focus on what you can do and the connections that you do have, and let go of all the expectations that you've made for yourself. It doesn't matter. And your goals right now may look very different than my goals, and that's okay. Or you may not be able to set goals right now. I went years where I couldn't set a goal for myself because it was too overwhelming, and that's okay too. And your journey might look different than mine, and that's okay. But my hope is that wherever you are today, I hope that you can feel encouraged to take just one simple step forward, one small action at a time. Remember, every step matters, and each one is bringing you closer to where you want to be. And if you're in a place where you can close your eyes for a minute, go ahead and do this. If not, make sure you're always safe. If I tell you to close your eyes and you're driving, please don't close your eyes. If you are in a place where you can relax for a minute, I'd like you to try something with me. And of course, always be safe. So close your eyes or soften your gaze. And as you take in a slow, deep breath in, hold it for just a moment. Now exhale slowly. And as you breathe and connect with your breath, I wonder if you could think about a setback that you have faced recently. It could be something small, or maybe it's something that felt huge. Whatever it is for you, now ask yourself, what can I do for myself today? And just think about it. What is something you can do for yourself? And then do it, even if it's just really simple. Take one more deep breath in and let it go. Now, there were plenty of times in my life when hearing phrases like, everything happens for a reason, made me feel even worse. When you're deeply struggling, those words can feel dismissive rather than comforting, and I felt that for sure. I remember feeling angry and more hopeless whenever someone tried to reassure me with that phrase. It made me question, am I really meant to suffer this deeply? Is there truly some purpose hidden within all this pain? Because at the time, all I could see was the difficulty, and I couldn't find meaning or hope in my suffering. There was only pain. During some of those dark periods, there were so many nights where I cried myself to sleep, overwhelmed by frustration. My body wasn't cooperating. I was missing out on important moments and meaningful experiences with my family. It often felt like I was trapped, simply existing instead of truly living. Sadness and anger were frequent visitors, and I struggled to see how things could ever improve. But gradually, things did start to shift. Instead of constantly feeling victimized by my circumstances, I started exploring different ways I could respond differently. So rather than seeing setbacks as evidence of my failure or signs that I couldn't move forward, I began viewing them a little more like stepping stones or opportunities to learn, to grow, and develop my resilience. And slowly I began to embrace the idea that while I couldn't control every aspect of my situation, I could control how I responded to it. Took a lot of patience, gentle healing, and practicing self-compassion, but I was able to start to experience these profound shifts. And I realized that the difficult times, those very things that I wished away, have taught me some powerful lessons. I didn't know it at the time, but they were shaping me into someone stronger, more compassionate, and deeply grateful for every good day. And those good days began to feel so precious because I clearly remembered how impossible they once seemed. I want you to know that if you're in a challenging season right now, it's very normal if you can't see any purpose or meaning in your struggle. You do not have to force yourself into gratitude or immediate understanding. It's normal and healthy to allow yourself to feel all your emotions fully. And healing often comes gently over time. I'm lucky to be on this side of feeling good, but when I was in the midst of it, I didn't see a lot of beauty in it. I didn't see a purpose at all. I was just mad. But please hold on to this. Even if it's hard to see right now, those challenges you're facing today, they may shape you in ways you may not yet recognize. Every difficult moment, every struggle you're navigating can add depth to your character, resilience to your spirit, and compassion to your heart. Compassion is something that I have built. When someone opens up to me and tells them that they've experienced something similar to me, I am able to have this compassion for them, this understanding that I wouldn't have had I not gone through all of that. So please know that these hard things, they are not breaking you. They can build you. And maybe you might be able to experience life even more deeply. And when those better days do come, and trust me, they will, you'll feel joy, gratitude, and appreciation in ways you never imagined possible. Even if your situation doesn't change, your mindset can change. And those joyful moments will be even sweeter because of everything you've endured and overcome. But for now, just focus on getting through one day at a time, one gentle step at a time. Keep holding on. Your story is still unfolding beautifully, and the strength you're building will carry you forward to the life you hope for. So today, I invite you to reflect, what gentle steps can you take to support yourself right now? Is there something small but powerful that you can do to move toward clarity or comfort? I would love to hear your story and insights, and I know others in our community would benefit too. So remember, sharing our experiences reminds us that we're never alone. Most likely when you open up and tell someone your story, they've either been through something similar or they know someone who has, and it really helps us to connect deeply with each other. And we all know life doesn't always go as planned, but perhaps we allow those setbacks to gently guide us towards something deeper and more meaningful. And I know it may be hard to see right now, but your story matters. It's unfolding in beautiful ways. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Keep holding on. You're stronger and more resilient than you know. Until next time, remember, give yourself grace. Take it one step at a time, and know that you're never alone on this journey. See you next time.